Thank you for tuning in to the best parenting show on the internet, Post Daily Dose.
It's the Post. It's the Post. It's the Post. The Post Daily Dose. It's the Post. It's the Post. It's the Post. The Post Daily Dose. It's the Post. It's the Post.
Hey Facebook. Hope everybody's doing fine this Sunday. This is Kristi, Saul, the co-founder of the Post+Institute, the leader of the Parenting Inner Circle, and the head parenting coach, coming at you live this Sunday. I hope everybody's having a beautiful day. Just coming out of church. I always like to give a little shout out when I come out of church, because my pastor, boy, he can lay down a message. He is certainly gifted as a messenger, and I am so grateful for that. So today in church, we are starting a new series talking about the margin. And boy, did he say some things that really struck a chord. And I think it's going to strike a chord with you all too. Oftentimes, we are in a lifestyle of paycheck to paycheck. Whether that's our finances, whether it's our time, whether it's our money. Hey, Kirsten, we are living paycheck to paycheck in our heart position. That everything we're doing, we're running around at the last minute. We're waking up 10 minutes late. Here in the United States, we just came through a time change. I don't know if not all countries do that, but in the United States, we have this thing called daylight savings time. Spring forward, fall back. So everybody had to change their clocks today. So speaking of time, right, it's going to make our time feel a little off for a few days. But, we'll adjust. We will adjust. See, that's just it. We will adjust because the clock and the rest of the world will require us to. But let's just talk about that from that emotional perspective. Living emotionally paycheck to paycheck. And, we talk a lot about self-care, and man, it's always so interesting to me that, when I make a post or something on our Facebook page about making sure and take time for yourself, little tips for self-care, that there's always people who, I always get at least 3 or 4 people out of the, 7 or 8 who comment, who always are just, like, you can feel it in their bones, that they just don't feel like they have time. Like, every minute of every day is so packed. And that is called living on the edge. When we are living like that, that is a setup, because any little thing can upset the apple cart. So let's put that like in a perspective of money, because it's so tangible that it makes it easy for us to really understand. If we are living literally paycheck to paycheck, what are you going to do when you get a flat tire? When you have a blowout? Well, you're going to be freaked out, because that's your transportation. That's your way to get to work. That's the way to get your kids to school, blah, 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 blah. And I have not saved any money so that I can get my tire fixed. So now I'm going to have to go borrow money, or I'm going to have to work overtime, or I'm going to have to ask my family for money, because I've not created any margin. I've not allowed room for error. If I'm always right on time for a meeting, what's going to happen if there's a car wreck on the way? Or the town I live in is funny. It's a funny little town, because there's a train that goes right straight through town, and there is no overpass nor underpass for this railroad track. So our town is literally split in half. So if you live in this town and you have to go to work or a meeting on the other side of town, then you have to plan for the possibility of a train. And if you don't, you're going to likely be late. And there's a lot of forgiveness given for that, but, realistically, I need to, be prepared. I live in a town where there's a train. There's a likelihood there's going to be one, so I need to allow margin, or I'm going to be sitting at that train and it's going to just stress me out. When we don't allow margin in our practical lives, like our time and our finances, then that creates a lot of stress. And the same thing happens for us with our emotions. if we are living on the edge and we're not allowing margin, we're not taking care of ourselves, then we are putting ourselves in a position where we're not prepared emotionally for upset. And when we are parenting children who come from difficult places, Brian always tells us it's predictable. It's predictable. So wake up a few minutes early. Wake up early so that you have time to take 5 minutes to just be still. It's so funny, my pastor was demonstrating that. He's like, some of y'all jump out of bed and you're just ripping and running from the minute you go, right? You wake up stressed and you spend your whole entire day being stressed and trying to rush everybody around you and, just living frantic. I'm afraid I'm going to be late. I'm afraid. Just, just living frantic, as opposed to living where you have created margin, where you've allowed room, where you've allowed some space and some time for your self-care, for you to take 5 minutes to be quiet before it's time to attend to your children, to get your own mind quiet, to when they're getting ready to come home from school. Man, I used to always, when it was time for me to go get Marley from school, whatever I was doing in my work, I would stop for 30 minutes beforehand and just get quiet. Usually I'd make sure we had a snack, make sure there's a snack I can get for her, so as soon as she gets home, she can have a little TLC, and I can, patiently attend to her, and I can just, whatever I was doing in my work is wrapped up. I put my phone away, and now it's time for me to spend time with my child because I'm not emotionally taxed, because I'm not living on the edge, because I've created a margin so we can be paycheck to paycheck with our spirit. It's a sense of stress, a sense of being frantic. And a lot of our kids who come from difficult places, they've already lived through that. It's sort of, for some of them, that is even sort of a pace. They kind of are always on the edge. They've not learned about how to create emotional space. When we don't have emotional space, we don't have space for grace. We don't have space to help them learn how to share their toys, to sit with them and play with them, to just give into the moment and shower them with affection and love. And when we're not able to do that, then they're not going to learn that. They're just going to learn how to be frantic and stressed out and short-fused with people, just like they're learning that from you. So we had children because we wanted the joy of having children. But it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. It's predictable. Predict that they are going to need you. They need your time. They need your attention. They need your affection. They need your patient self. They need the self that has taken that extra 5 or 10 minutes just to chill. You don't have to be doing something all the time. You don't have to be looking at your phone all the time. Man, these things right here, these phones, I really enjoy mine. My pastor said, if you want to know what you value, what you really value, you look at where your time is really going. And we give a lot of lip service to the fact that we love our kids. Our kids are so important. There's nothing more important than family and God. But where do you spend most of your time? Our phones now have those logs that'll show you how much time you've spent on an app. And I'm looking at myself doing this video, and I'm thinking of my own, what does my log say? My log probably says that there's way too much time spent on Facebook. That's just being honest. So how can I work on my relationship with my child if my face is always in my phone? So before you go pick your kids up from school, or at least, periodically through the day, just set everything aside. These phones, you'll be looking, think about it. You're scrolling on your timeline, and it's like being on an emotional roller coaster. I see some of my friends who are watching here, and, I think about it. We share the same timelines. Many of us, we have a lot of common friends, and you're scrolling, and you're like, oh my God, somebody's mother died. And you're caught up in that emotional feeling. And then you scroll again, and you're seeing somebody's cute baby, and then you scroll again and you see something that's filled with hate and vengeance that's being displayed towards humanity. And so, these little mechanisms that we have in our hand, do not underrate what they do to your emotions and how they can take away from the people that you give voice to saying how much you care about. I don't know about you, but if I'm with somebody and they're on their phone, you can tell when they're having phone stress, when there's phone drama going on. When you're having a phone argument with somebody, you're not present for the people that you're sitting with. When you're caught up in a big heated text exchange or something, and you got to know that for your kids too. Man, that just if you're raising teens and tweens, you got to know about their phone life and ask and talk about it, and share. Gosh, honey, I know. I was telling Marley literally last night we were having this conversation. I said, well, baby, I could tell there was something up on your phone. I could just tell your energy shifted. And I'll tell you, it made me think about when I was first single and trying to figure out how to meet people and date. And I would have all kinds of stuff going on my phone, and I just wasn't present for you. So I get it. So, we addressed what needed to be addressed, and we put our phones down, and we spent time together, and just hung out and connected and loved on each other and shared, played a couple games, and called it a night. So, create margin. Create margin. Notice where you really are spending your time. Think about why you're spending your time there. Sometimes we do things because we're so stressed that we use our phones, we use our televisions as a way to just check out because we're so overwhelmed. And what that's really doing is probably creating more stress at a brain level than we realize. So instead of just checking out and numbing out with our phones and our televisions, just turn it all off and give yourself about a 5-minute break. Just 5 minutes of mental quiet time. You don't have to be doing anything. Just, maybe just thank God for your beautiful children. Thank God for what you have. Take deep breaths. Find that sense of peace. What you can do in terms of self-care in just 5 little minutes, and how that can get you then readjusted so that you can go and just give in to your kids and play with them. And Channy, I see you down there, and I'm thinking of your sweet little boy right off the top of my head, and his cute little chubby cheeks, and I can just hear his laugh, and I think of you, Emily, and I know you've got your new baby, and I think of Robert, little man, and I see your pictures and how you love on your family, and I just want to encourage that. I want to encourage you all to create some margin. Create some space in your life so that you're not living so stressed, Give yourself that 5. It's amazing. Like I said, 5 minutes. 5 minutes can do. All right, you guys. Much love. A couple of things I want to share with you guys. The Post+Institute. Well, so my little town, I've been wanting to serve my community. I've been really wanting to pour into it and find a place that was a good fit for that. And so I know if you've been watching our Facebook page, you're familiar with our local She Brews Coffee House and our ministry to women who are recovering and women who have been incarcerated. And so I've started an in-person From Fear to Love book study group. And I got to tell you, I've been so blessed. We've met for the last 2 Fridays. I think we'll keep doing it. It's not going to be a time-limited group. And my goal really is to help pass this word on in a way that other people can then do this within their community. So my hope is, I do these online as well. And so I'll be announcing another round. We just wrapped up a week before, and so I'll be announcing another round of book studies. I love for you guys to join in, an opportunity to model to our children that we also need to regulate sometimes. Yes, exactly, Kirsten, right. When we say to our kids, hey, I'm just going to take 5 minutes and be quiet. You can sit right here with me because I love on you. That always feels good. Think about that. Think about that dynamic shift. That's really good. Thank you, Kirsten. I'm glad you said that. So, the book study, I'll be announcing a new round of those. And like I said, this was actually something that was thought of by a postie, by a fellow parent, Mimi Ellis. She called me about a year ago, and she was just talking about, she's a nurse, and she was talking about all these different parents that come into her practice, and how she just sees a need for people to understand brain development and parenting. And so she was like, what would you think of a grassroots movement where we had just little parenting groups, kind of like an AA meeting where we can use this model of parenting and just sit around and talk and share. And so that's what we're doing. And so I'm doing them online. And as I do them online, my real hope is that people will then look to ways that they can do the same thing in their community, so that we can just support one another in being loving, peaceful parents, so that we can take care of each other, take care of ourselves, that we can support each other, because this paradigm is not, it's not the dominant story out there, and that we can build more support for our babies, just one little family at a time, one new person that starts looking at things a little differently. Also want to just tell you guys, last week on Sunday, there was I shared a post about churches kicking kids out of daycare, of their Sunday school classes, because they're not able to maintain behaviorally. And so I felt so moved by that I talked to my pastor's wife, who's she's a minister and in charge of our children's service. And so she and I are going to do something. We're either going to write an ebook, or we're going to do a podcast, and we're going to talk about that. And I personally signed up to be a go-to, that if at any time there's a kid in our Sunday school that needs a one-on-one because they're not able to do what's going on in the Sunday school class, just reach out to me, and I will be delighted to do that for my church. And I encourage you all to let your churches know that it's needed. You may be needing to get your cup filled. This may be the time. Worship service may be how you fill your cup so that you can care for your children. And so you may really be in a place where you need your kids to be in that child care, or for someone else to be caring for them, so that you can get filled. I get it. And so other people, if you've got to let your needs be known, to let other people know that you really need that, and ask if there are people who can help cover your child and pour into them. See, our babies need to know that they are loved by more than just us. And so, it could be a family member, or maybe somebody from your church. When they hear that need, you will be surprised at how many people step up to support you and become part of your tribe and part of your village. So I want to let you guys know that was really heard and felt, and we're going to try to help not just my church, but we want to try to help educate other churches and help support you guys in getting your needs met. Much love to you guys. I hope you have a fabulous day. Hug somebody, love somebody, laugh, blow a belly, play a game, enjoy your family. Take care.